Friday's footy news on AFL.com.au. Hello everyone, Matt Thompson with you alongside Brisbane Triple Premiership superstar Chris Johnson, who is with us to preview this weekend's finals. G'day Chris.
G'day Matt, looking forward to it, can't wait.
Yeah, a couple of bumper matches. Let's begin with Adelaide and Fremantle tonight. Obviously, the team news is really interesting here. The Crows have brought in an inexperienced defender, Luke Thompson, for the injured Daniel Talia, the rising star, and Ricky Henderson comes in as well. Talia's a big loss.
Yeah, look, he's going to be a massive loss to them, and he's been holding down that. Obviously, NAB rising star winner, so he's going to be a massive loss. He's got a big shoes to fill, Thompson. Zach
Clark comes in for Kepler Bradley for Fremantle. What about the travel factor for Fremantle? Does that come into it with them as well, considering that they had to travel to Melbourne last week?
Look, that's going to be a massive factor in the game because, you know, when did they get back home and when are they going to travel to Adelaide? I think that's going to be their biggest thing, is how do they recover, what sort of training they do back in Perth, making sure they don't waste too much energy and keeping that for the ground, because on last Saturday night they were just fantastic. Their energy levels were up and about, so whatever they're doing in their recovery process is certainly working for them while they're travelling, and for them to win a game, a final at the MCG, is just fantastic for that football club.
What is it that you like about Fremantle, and are you actually tipping them?
Yeah, I'm tipping. I'm going to go with Fremantle. I think what I like about it is they were able to mix it with one of the best teams going around the competition in terms of Geelong, with their physicality and their ability to run hard and work together as a team, to a team that was almost in premiership favourites not so long ago.
All right, so Chris is tipping Fremantle to beat Adelaide. Let's turn our attention to Saturday night at the MCG as we watch Collingwood take on the West Coast Eagles. And as we talk, Chris, we've got pictures from both teams training today. Let's begin with the Magpies. Tyson Goldsack returns. Jamie Elliott comes into the Magpies team as well. And of course, they've lost their skipper, Nick Maxwell. That's been the big story of the week.
Look, they're two big ins for them. Goldsack coming back in the side as well. That's fantastic. And Maxwell, well, the captain, the spiritual leader down that back half that keeps them all together, that's going to be a huge loss, and someone needs to stand up to fill that void. And you know, very disappointing loss. They came out with their arms swinging against Hawthorn, but just weren't able to go the distance with it through the whole game. Just tapered off towards the latter stages of the third and last quarter. But certainly Maxwell's going to be a massive loss for them, and someone's going to have to stand up and pick that void up.
Now, if you clicked onto AFL.com.au after last Friday night's match, we reported that we saw Dane Beams having a scan, and he's had a fairly light week on the training track, but the Magpies insist that there is nothing wrong with him of any note, and he will be fine to play tomorrow night. Matt Rose is a really interesting one. Just a couple of weeks out with that broken collarbone, and all of a sudden he's back in the Eagles team.
Look, they must be pretty confident with him. They must have been keeping his condition levels up, and he's been involved in team meetings. So for him to come back in the side, that's a massive inclusion for West Coast, and certainly on the MCG, a bigger sort of ground, not as long as what they're used to playing, but a lot more wider. So a guy that can cover the ground a fair bit, that's going to be a massive inclusion for him.
We saw Chris Tarrant target Buddy last week. Would you perhaps send him to Nick Nat and just try to ruffle some feathers there?
Look, it worked a couple of weeks ago when West Coast played Hawthorn. They did rough Nick Nat up a little bit, but I think Nick Nat's a little bit better than that. I think he'll focus. That'll be a learning curve for him when he played Hawthorn a couple of weeks ago at the MCG, and he'll move forward. And I reckon he's ready to bust a game open in the finals coming up against the Magpies.
All right, so what's your tip?
I've got to go with the West Coast Eagles. I think if they can get that obviously ruck combination going and their midfield getting to the right hit zones, I think they're going to be a massive chance. And their forward line has been fantastic of late, and they're coming in off a great win against North Melbourne and look like the form team at the moment in the finals.
Wow, so you're tipping straight sets exits from both of the top four sides playing this weekend.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a bit of a risky one, but that's how I see it. And it's going to with Fremantle, it's going to be about their recovery process. They get that right, well, they're a massive chance.
All right, one more question for you. We have some pictures coming in as well from Hawthorn, where they had a kind of secret match simulation session this morning. As we look at these, what's this all about, do you think? How hard would you go in this week off for a team that has the break?
Look, I think it's important. You've got to do something, and you know, whether there's something planned for the weekend as well, I would think so. But you need that match practice. You need to make sure that you're preparing. Obviously, not going the full length or high contact and maximum contact, but you need to do some match practice to make sure that the boys are in check and they come into next week's game that they've done everything right and they can come in quite confidently.
Those pictures coming in from Waverley. Chris, thanks as always for your time. Much appreciated.
No worries, Matt.
Chris Johnson with us, and of course we'll be all over the finals news right across the weekend here on AFL.com.au. Catch you soon.